Hey people, Cariocekus here, back with another What Is video, and in this one we're taking a look at Hades. From Supergiant Games, they also made Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre. This video ends up being helpful, click that like button down below. You can also subscribe for more. If you want to talk games, I'm also over on Twitch, links in the video description down below. Let's jump into the video and see what is Hades. It's an isometric dungeon crawler in which you will die quite a few times. It is, after all, a roguelike. But when you die, you do keep your darkness gems for upgrades, making you stronger each run. And if you feel like you need some extra help, there is God mode, which decreases the amount of damage you take. It starts at 20%, and every time you die it goes up to a max of 80%. Combat is not that complex. Each weapon has 3 attacks. You have a normal one, a special, and a cast attack. Your normal is your go-to most of the time, your basic combo. The special is a slower attack specific to each weapon that usually has some kind of utility to it. The cast is your ranged attack, limited by how many Stygian souls you have. Stygian souls work as ammo. There's also dash, obviously, this is your dodge, which you will be using a lot. And then there's the Call or Wrath, which you unlock after you progress a little bit through the game. It's a powerful charge ability granted by a specific boom that you can get from a god. The game features 6 weapons. They all do feel unique and they change the way you tackle combat. Enemy attacks are mostly telegraphs, so there is a lot of dodging involved. As you progress through the zones, you will be getting boons. These are buffs that you get from the gods. These are mostly passives that add to or change your basic attacks. Each god has 14 unique boons and 7 dual boons. Dual boons are 2 gods on 1 buff. And seeing as there are a total of 10 gods, and then you add the weapons, which also have specific upgrades when you choose the Hammer of Daedalus instead of a boom. And when you think customization ends, the game throws weapon aspects at you. That's a lot of tweaking you can do. You get the boons at the end of each room, so each zone has multiple rooms. Before entering a room, you can see what the reward is going to be. They also show the difficulty of each room. Each zone ends with a big boss fight. These fights can get hectic, but after a few deaths to them, you will eventually learn their movements and win, but they do end up changing the boss fights a bit after you beat them a few times. Visually, it resembles all their past games. Environments look hand-drawn. They have this art style so engraved into all their games that you can tell who made the game if you played any of their past games. It's a good-looking game, even though it's not the most demanding. There are 3 zones you go through to reach the top, all feel unique. You start in Tartarus. This one looks like a maze of dungeons. Then you climb up a bit to Asphodel, a fiery zone with a river of lava. And after the fire, you get the grassy and peaceful plains of Elysium. I've had no issues with performance so far. The game is stable and plays smooth. The options menu is another story though. It is disappointing because there's barely anything here. I mean, take a look at it. It's barren. But with the system requirements the game has, you probably wouldn't even need to change anything. But there's something about the audio in their games that always gets me. Voiceover work here is spot on. Every god sounds unique and has their quirks. Aphrodite, for example, is a lot more smooth and laid back when compared to Athena.
I understand, young Zagreus, that you would seek to leave that bitter darkness for this bitter cold. But honestly, I fail to see why. But I'll aid your plight, why not? For I can offer plenty of assistance, and you soon shall grow fond of it, I think.
And the narrator is back, and as always, he's so on point. The narrator is a staple of their games and a damn good one at that.
And lavishly appointed lair of the underworld's king is home not just to him, but to his willful progeny.
You know I can hear you, old man.
The music, and damn they nailed it on this one as well. When nothing is happening, it's pretty chill background music, but when the fight breaks out, it does pick up, and it does match the fast gameplay very well. It's good stuff. Supergiant knows how to do their audio.
This is for your own good.
Story-wise, this game stands out in the roguelike genre because roguelikes don't have any story or very little. In Hades they made it in a way that every time you die, which is going to be quite a few, you get thrown back home and you get a little bit of story and actual character progression. It uses the Greek pantheon as its base, and it focuses on you, the son of Hades, trying to get out of the underworld. It's an extremely replayable game, as are most roguelikes. Getting killed and starting over stronger is part of the roguelike. But it does give you different ways of playing. You have multiple weapons, an absurd amount of possible combinations with the booms, then there's also the heat runs if you want to make things harder. It's a game that I highly recommend. It's fun, it can be challenging, while at the same time with God mode, it also gives you an option to make it easier if you want. A memorable game in part because of the voiceover and also very replayable. Hades for me is probably the best roguelite so far. Its gameplay is solid and they managed to include a story that is interesting into the mix, a thing that most ignore. If you haven't tried a game from Supergiant Games, this one is a good start. And as most of their games, it's probably going to be a sleeper hit.
The fear of death keeps mortals well in check. You'd best learn to fear something yourself, you hear me, boy?
That's going to be it for Hades. I hope this video was helpful, and if you liked it, you know what to do, and these are the places where you can find me. And as always, people, thanks for watching, stay safe, stay awesome, and drink your water. See you in the next one.